In this video, we're doing something slightly unusual. We're going to discuss a video we haven't made yet. We could have kept this seamless, but people pick up on time signatures, they will know.
I was going to do a lovely, in our video about the Berlingo Picasso comparative, but Ian said no, because you're far too clever for that
and
stuff.
And I'm too honest.
Yes.
So, we are recording this before filming Berlingo versus Picasso. But we were watching Up and Down, his channel this morning, good old Kitch. And he's, for some reason, put up a video from almost 2 years ago when he was working on Cecily the C5.
Did you miss the opener of that video? He needed closure.
He needed closure.
He did.
Yeah. In other words, he hadn't got around to editing it yet. But anyway, he has finally put the video up, and it really did bring back some memories for us, didn't it?
Gosh, it did. It did, because we held a real affection for that car. She was our first successful family wagon, wasn't she?
Yeah, an absolute beauty of a car, really. Worked so well for us.
Very much so.
Which got us into the mindset of, okay, we're currently doing Berlingo versus Picasso, but where did the C5 fit in?
Yeah, and in a strange twist of irony, they're all the same age.
They're all the same age.
All the same age.
52 or 02
yeah,
plate.
52 or 02 plate. So they would have been in the market at the same time.
Yeah.
Bella, the Berlingo, the Pasta Picasso, and Cecily, the C5. They would have all been in the market at the same time. But coming from slightly different perspectives, really. They're all people movers.
Well, they're not massive people movers. That would have been a Synergy stroke. What was the next one called? C8.
C8.
Yeah. But the decent family wagons is what I would call all three of them.
Yeah.
And it's odd that one manufacturer would have three contenders for that market.
So we've lived with the three of them, and we've highlights and lowlights of both of them, to be honest. So we just wanted to sort of talk about the price, where they would have been in the pricing market. Excuse the wobbling, we're just approaching a roundabout. So where they would have been with regards to price, practicality, comfort.
Yeah.
What else did we say? Price,
I can't remember. Let's start with price, because you've been doing some research on that one.
Well, I did the C5 research, and I'm hoping you can enlighten us on the Berlingo, because that's the one. Oh, no, I do know. So the Berlingo would have been the cheapest in the market. Correct me if I'm wrong, coming in at about £10,000.
Yeah, for Bella's spec at the time. Yeah.
And then the Picasso would have been coming in at about £14,000. Again, according to spec, I think there were two different specs on the Picasso at the beginning. I think they became more with time. And then Cecily would have, now we're not 100% sure on the pricing, but it would have been, the C5 range, please excuse the breathlessness, still suffering a bit with my chest. The range ranged from about 14,000 to 21,000.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable to assume. But I think you would have been
your serious plush gadgety C5.
Yes, Cecily was an SX, so I think that's only one spec up from bottom. I think there was a base model. So I reckon it should be somewhere around 15, 16.
Yeah.
But of course it's kind of all immaterial, because actually Cecily was the cheapest one to buy. She was effectively 400 quid. We swapped
because you did a swap.
Primera for her,
yes.
Which was one of the best deals I've ever done in my life, I think.
So with regards to price, I think you're probably about right with that pricing, because Bella is basic.
Yeah.
They're affectionately quite often termed vans with windows, aren't they?
It's exactly what she is.
Yeah. And so yes, I think that being the lower price range is absolutely right. And then of course you've got the Picasso, which is coming in on the Zara platform, which is an older platform, and it was kind of tending to that MPV market, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it in response to the Scenic? Because the Scenic's a bit younger,
older,
isn't it?
There's only a year between them, but I think the Picasso was very much a Scenic inspired vehicle.
Yeah, and it's very much more comfortable. You've got a lot of road noise and whatnot in Bella, because there's not much sound deadening and so on. Because
here comes the deadly man who just pulled out in front of us off camera.
Yeah, we just had a hairy incident, very hairy incident. Yeah, so the Picasso offered a lot of comfort. The seats were very comfortable. It's a lot more gadgets. You've got your tables and all that kind of. I don't want to delve too much into gadgetry, because both the C5 and that's something we can come back on with those two.
But the key thing with the Picasso is the fact that it's 3 individual seats.
Yes.
which boosts your practicality in some ways, although the shape of the vehicle is not as practical as a Berlingo.
But more, and I know some people are going to disagree with me, but I have had a Mark 1 Scenic as well. The Picasso is far more spacious, and the curve is much better than with the boot space than the Scenic.
But you still got the issue that above the parcel shelf line, there isn't much space in a Picasso, whereas the Berlingo is just the same square shape.
And then, of course, you've got the C5, which was considered to be a new platform. And there was a lot of investment, over £1 billion worth of investment into the C5 range. They looked at the suspension, didn't they? Mm-hmm. It still counts as hydromatic?
Yeah, it's still hydromatic.
Mm-hmm. But compared to the Picasso, feels like comfy, warm, fluffy motoring, whereas the C5, you're leaning towards the executive motoring.
Yeah,
obviously,
and it feels that you got your armrest and everything.
You've got the C6, which is obviously really, really tailored to that market, but the C5 is almost there, isn't it? It's kind of salesman.
Initially the C5 had to replace the Xantia and the XM, so it always had to have a slightly executive feel, and I think it did that very well. It was a lovely car to drive, very peaceful, very smooth, and very, very comfortable.
So with regards to ride, so what we kind of want to come out of at the end of this video, which probably is going to be a bit rambling because we're quite enjoying talking about these cars, what is our favourite out of three?
It was difficult. I mean, just on ride comfort, for all the majesty of hydro pneumatic, and it must be pointed out the C5 we only had the basic hydromatic. It didn't, hydro pneumatic. It didn't have the hydractive suspension, which is all clever and changed rates and stuff like that. It's hard to say the C5 was actually more comfortable than either the Picasso or the Berlingo. All three of them ride really, really well. Very supple is the word. And yet, all three of them handle quite nicely as well.
Yeah, and the Berlingo's the shocker.
Oh God, this car's all over the road.
The Berlingo's the shocker in that one, because you wouldn't expect it, would you?
Is he going now?
I don't know.
That car is doing me a fear.
It's doing me quite a fear as well.
Yeah, we'll just accelerate gently and let them get down the road.
Yes.
And hope they go away and never enter our lives again.
So, ride, all very competent.
Yeah.
Any of them showed any weakness? Anything that
well,
bugged
Bella did a big weakness because her suspension failed.
Well,
And I will say, both the Picasso and the Berlingo will suffer from a tow car point of view because their suspension is so soft. But the C5 will always self-level, so we put ridiculous amounts of weight in the back of the C5, and you don't know because it always self-levels, it always adjusts the rear brake efficiency automatically. I still love hydro pneumatic for that point alone. The fact you get such comfort, but you get such consistency.
Picasso's just passed going, I'm the best!
Yeah. So, I do miss the C5 for that. I know when we load up the Berlingo, the back end ends up squatting down.
She feels it, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Although, in her defence, she feels it less with her new suspension.
Yeah.
She wasn't actually sitting right when we got her.
No, she was already sagging.
She wasn't sitting right. And I don't think we were entirely aware of the issues with the rear axles on the Berlingo at that point. So, with regards to ride, we're going to C5?
Yeah, we'll just take it just for that self-leveling. But really, there's surprisingly little in it.
Okay. Now, comfort, because you mentioned the armrests in C5, but Picasso also has armrests.
Picasso does have armrests, yeah.
Yeah.
I do like them. The one in this car is too low.
Yeah. Well, Betty's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But I don't know if their seats are quite universal, but the seats are all very comfortable.
It's a difficult one because, of course, the Picasso is the only one that's done 500,000 miles, and you do feel it in the driver's seat especially.
You don't in the passenger seat.
Oh,
the passenger seat is very comfortable. It's got that, I think you could cheerfully ride hundreds of miles in any of them with regards to comfort.
Yeah.
With regards to little, perks type things, armrests are always great. And the Picasso is full of tricks.
It is.
It's got lots of cup holders.
Seats folding in different ways. You've got the tray tables. You've got your little box in the boot. Yeah, of course, some Berlingos did have tray tables, but not ours.
Not ours, because she's basic.
Basic.
She is basic. So yeah, there's lots of lovely gadgetry, but the C5 was heavy on that kind of stuff as well. The cup holders, the nice. There was the centre armrest that came down, wasn't there? Am I right?
Yeah, it had two armrests, and it had two sun visors, so you could have one in front of you and one to the side at the same time. That was a lovely touch, and it came in useful a great deal.
Yeah, and with regards to other gadgets, the C5 Win that we never used because it was broken on Cecily.
The glass opening up on
the
that.
boot.
Yeah.
Now that's nifty.
Yeah, I'm not sure how useful that one is in all genuineness.
I don't know about useful, but I know that when the Hublets saw a C5 do that, they were absolutely mind blown. So I'm not quite sure what the thinking was with that. Do you know?
You just meant to be able to drop stuff in without having to open the entire tailgate.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I suppose.
Or if you've got the boot loaded to the point you know everything's going to fall out if you open the entire boot. You can just open the hatch and just drop a few more things on top.
Now, I'm just thinking the praises of the C5 and the Picasso, but Bella is so comfortable. The shocker is how comfortable Bella the Berlingo
it's entirely unexpected. It's a lovely driving position.
Completely.
I actually prefer Bella's driving position to Betty's.
Mm-hmm.
Betty's, the seat is too close to the floor. We're not adding AU Falcons to the mix, but I'm just saying.
Step away from the Falcon.
I like a raised seat that is up from the floor.
Well,
even the Daewoo Matiz, the seat feels quite high from the floor, and I like that.
But yeah, the comfort is, you would anticipate it in the C5, and you would anticipate it in the Picasso because that's what they were built for, those markets. Yeah. But the Berlingo is the shocker in that one. So if we're talking comfort, where are we going?
I think C5 ultimately.
C5?
Yeah, but between Picasso and Bella, I can't separate them at all. From a front passenger point of view. I suspect from a rear passenger, Picasso wins because you can tilt the rear seats.
Yeah.
And, posh things like the windows open properly, rather than just the pop-outs.
Yeah, I forgot that. I mean, that is a big thing, isn't it? That, they've got proper windows, and Bella has not. She's got little pop-outs.
So, and ironically, Bella's the only one who doesn't have air conditioning.
No, she doesn't. So, okay, C5 on that one.
Yeah.
So what have we got? We've got, is it C5 we need so far?
I don't know.
Yes, it is. You said ride C5 and then comfort C5.
Do we need another C5?
No, we don't need another C5. And also in this test, it's important to note that Bella is currently unwell. So,
Yeah, there is that as well. But then Cecily, the C5, has had a ton of money spent on her since we had her.
She was brilliant when we had her. That's the beauty of her.
But we were always going to be looking at expenditure. The clutch was getting a bit end of life. It wasn't slipping, but you could tell it was not biting as strong as a brand new clutch. So, hello. Funny trike going down the other way.
Kitch has done a lot of work on that car.
Yeah.
It was brakes he was on today,
so has Hannah Cruz.
Yes.
A C5 specialist. She's done a lot of work on it as well. So Cecily
she's a different car now.
Yeah, entirely.
Almost, literally.
So everyone's saying, "Oh, I bet you wish you kept that car instead of getting Bella." And
we wouldn't have done the right thing by that car.
Yeah.
So.
Either way, we would have spent a ton of money to keep either car going.
So we've talked about the ride and the comfort. I think the pricing. I think they're right where they should have been, each of them.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because the pricing is kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, but
once they become used vehicles.
Yeah, if we're looking at the time.
The C5 depreciated hardest.
Yes, but that's true with the C6 as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think there's a certain amount of, if you're really investing into a new line, the profit might be a bit less. This is just because I'm an Avantime fan and I know those lost massively. But okay, so.
There's also the fact that I think the C5 is the only one actually built in France. I have a feeling Picassos were also built in Spain.
I thought. Is Bella Spanish as well?
No, sorry, yes, I think Bella is Spanish. Because
I think we've
French.
had a discussion about this because there was it was the plant in Rennes.
Because C15s, there is one.
There you go.
C15s were made in Spain.
There was a plant in Rennes that was operating until 2007, and that's definitely where the C5 was built.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know about the Berlingo. Wasn't there somewhere in South America that was doing? Am I imagining that? Somewhere in South America doing Berlingos.
Yeah, and they kept the first stage ones for a lot longer than anyone else.
Yeah.
But we are drifting massively. Is that probably enough?
No.
We've been talking for about 6
What
hours.
have we not talked about? We talked about price, we talked about ride, we've talked about comfort, practicality.
Yeah, we've kind of hinted at that.
Yeah, but we haven't talked
Picasso
about
is kind of...
talked about
Picasso is probably the weakest of the three, but that doesn't mean it's impractical. It just means compared to some very strong in-house competition, it's not the strongest.
Yeah, as I mentioned, versus a scenic, it's stronger, but versus the C5 and the Berlingo, it's not, because basically those two are squares.
Yeah.
Well, rectangles.
Yeah, it was staggering how much stuff you could get in the back of the C5.
Oh God, have you got a hankering? Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, it's dangerous.
This is not how I anticipated this conversation going.
Triangular doom, though. Just remember the triangular doom.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. So, practicality, probably Picasso at the back, and then you've got C5 and Berlingo. I think the Berlingo is more practical.
Yeah,
because
ultimately.
It's just a big rectangle.
Yeah, the sliding doors are really good. That
And
makes such a difference
big,
for a
massive tailgate.
family wagon.
Big, massive tailgate as well.
Yeah.
So, on the practicality, I think it's got to be Berlingo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now windscreen wipers.
Windscreen wipers, Picasso, easy win.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the only one that doesn't have a triangle.
Oh, there we go then. So it's like quite level pegging really for three different vehicles.
There's not a lot in it, and that's what I find oddest, I think, that one manufacturer would have three so similar vehicles.
But this is what we said, is that but they're not similar, are they? If you look at them, they're not similar, and they're not doing the same job. And that was the beauty of car ranges back in the past. Is that
it wasn't all
so
SUVs.
Different.
It was all MPVs instead.
It was just a whole spectrum of vehicles.
Yeah.
But so the $64,000 question: if you could have one of the three, which would it be?
Oh, gold.
And why?
I really would not say no to another decent C5, I must admit. I think this has
not
fired
gone
up my
how I
love for
thought
those
this
cars
was
again.
gone. This is not how I got to say, I did get a pang when I saw Cecily on the telly this morning.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, she was good. But we'd have to get a C5 with the tow bar.
Yeah?
Yes.
I don't think that would be hard to achieve.
No, I don't think so. But for me, I am a hardcore Bella fan.
Ooh.
I'm afraid so. As much as I adored Cecily, as soon as Bella came into our lives, every other family car that we tried, those that we don't speak of, I'm sure you know which ones I'm talking about, we still were missing that car. But as soon as we got Bella, she fit perfectly. And she's great to daily, she's just practical. She's the most practical in the sense that she's almost wiped down.
Yeah, very true.
She is almost wiped down. You would be very uncomfortable because if we're doing this...
Oh, I don't think we haven't discussed is that all three of them had a 2-litre HDI engine.
Oh yes, they did. And how did they
The
carry
C5
it?
allegedly had 110 horsepower. It never felt it. But I think the C5 was quite a heavy car.
And the Berlingo sits at 90, is it?
Yeah, Berlingo and Picasso are 90.
Yeah.
So after 20 years, the one running best is
The Picasso.
the Picasso, yeah, which is the one that's done 500,000 miles.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, all their suspension has fallen off.
Oh dear. All of it.
Yeah.
Or was it lowered?
Volkswagen up. Oh, it had clearly been lowered. Maybe that's the problem. The suspension has just crashed out on it. It's air ride or something.
But interesting that they were all not only 5.2 or 0.2 plates, but also on the same engine.
Yeah.
But perform differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yes, as you say, that is the most, the best performing after 500,000 miles plus.
Yeah.
Is definitely the best performing. The practicality side of things, just to pop back to that. If you're throwing children in there that have been doing scouts or explorers or something like that, and they're filthy or they're wet or whatever, or dogs, then Bella wins on that score.
Yeah.
Because you can literally wipe her down.
Yeah.
And she's also the best micro camper. So my love is with Bella, and you want another C5.
Yeah, so there we go. Oh, there you go, the Popo.
So there we go. There's our thoughts on the three Citroens. That we just couldn't miss the opportunity, having owned all three and lived with them.
Just to have a bit more
We
chat.
had to have a little bit of a chat about that, which is quite a big chat. So
Thank you for joining us for this very big chat over on Hub Notes.
And we'll see you in a
we'll
future
see you in a future
video.
video.
What do we do at the end of these?
We just say goodbye.
We just say goodbye.
Maybe show them a beautiful shot of the M4.
And goodbye, and here's the M4. Isn't it nice? just heading towards Neath Talbot, I think, way.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to Barry Island.
Woo!
Woo! And we're going to do another video.
Oh, might have to charge the phone by the look of it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Bye.
The camera.
Bye-bye.